Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Total Football Talk. So we're going to look at the latest news and transfer news coming out of Manchester United. Actually, not a lot of transfer news at the minute, but we will look at the match from last night. I did a reaction video. I'm now going to kind of look in the game in a little bit more detail and just some of the things that came out of last night, which were unbelievable. What a game! Blew my mind. I think the supporters around the world are rejoicing with, just living in the moment of utter madness and chaos and, just every kind of emotion possible. Um, but yeah, we we got the result last night. Thank God our season's still alive. We managed to keep moving forward in the Europa League. And this is just some of the things that came out of last night. So we'll start to look into them. And this is what Henry Winter was saying. Harry Maguire's goals this season: injury time equaliser at Porto, injury time winner against Leicester, winner v Ipswich, and now an extra time winner v Lyon. Where would Manchester United be without him? I mean, Harry Maguire has been very, very important to this team. And as you can see there from what Henry Winter is stating, the facts: we have relied on Harry Maguire. He's gone up front. Rubin has decided sometimes the only way to be effective is to go route one, throw the big man up front, throw the ball into the box, and let chaos ensue. And it worked last night, and it's worked again. I mean, we may have to do it again against Bilbao, and we may have to even do it again if we get to the final. Who knows what state we'll be in, because unfortunately our strikers and our forward line just, and I'm not including Bruno in that, but the rest of them, Garnacho, etc., and Rasmus, we just those two in particular, just they're just not firing. Rasmus, I felt, had a good workman-like game last night. He worked hard, he played well without actually creating any chances for himself or getting the opportunity to score. But I felt his work rate was excellent. I felt his hold up play was the best it's been for a long time. And yeah, he did a very good job for us, a very important job. And I was a little bit gutted to see him come off because I still felt we needed the number 9. But trusting the manager, Rubin got it right, bringing on Kobe Minu to play up front. Well, magical, absolutely magical. Kid has unbelievable talent and pulled off another spectacular goal right in the depths of despair for us to get us, right back on level pegging with a team. Even though they only had 10 men, we're still playing out of their skins. So fair play to him. But it just goes to show how important and how integral Harry Maguire has been to Manchester United this season. And I have not been an advocate of Maguire for many a time, but he was Harry the hero last night. He deserves all the headlines he's getting. And, he's a Manchester United player, and I'm delighted for him. I'm delighted for the club. I'm delighted to still be in this tournament and fighting and still, giving ourselves an opportunity to do something. Because, my God, we need to just... We are that cliff edge. We are still dangling by that thread. We are still hanging on by our fingernails, but we're still there. Thank the maker, we're still there. So that was what Henry Winter was saying, and this is what Rubin went on to say after the game last night. You can see in the stadium, so everybody in the moment can believe that it's possible. We need a bit of luck on the injuries, and to reach that, some players will have to be really tough. But I had in my career one final, and I had the semi-final in Turin, playing back in Benfica in 2014, and then the final was in Turin. So we lost the final to Seville. So let's change that. It could be the same. It could be the same as the coach. So obviously Ruben Amorim has been in this position before, but he wants to change the script. He wants to rewrite the script, and hopefully he can rewrite his own script, and we can go to Bilbao and we can get a result there. We can bring it back to Old Trafford. We can do the business, and then we can, turn the final around and go on and do what we all aim to do, is to bring back a trophy and just bring something back to the season. Because it's not going to change us drastically, but it will change the fortunes of the club in some ways. It'll bring a trophy. It'll bring us Champions League football, and it'll bring us European football next year. So that's obviously what he is kind of leaning towards. Everything's going into the basket. It's Easter. The the eggs are in the basket. We're all in for the Europa League. Ruben Amorim also said after the game that the kids will get their opportunities now in the league, because everything goes into these next 3 games, or 2 games anyway, against Bilbao. So he's going to play the kids, and I'm looking forward to actually seeing some of them. Jack Moorhouse may get a run out. Cheeto may get a few more games up front. Harry Amas may play on the left. Jack Fletcher, Tyler Fletcher, Abramov, Shea Lacey. I don't know who he's going to bring into the team. Bentito Montado, Goodwin, Kakonki. There's a raft of youngsters that he can bring in and experiment with in the last few league games. So let's see where he goes with those. Let's see who he brings in. Let's see who's available. Let's see who needs minutes in the legs. Maybe he'll want to get a little bit more minutes in the legs, the likes of Luke Shaw and Mason Mount, to try and get them up to speed. Ahmad could potentially be back. And then someone else who will potentially be back as well, which would be great news. So there's a good possibility that Matthias Delit will be available for the Europa League semi-finals against Bilbao. Now, we have him back. That would be absolutely fantastic to have someone of his experience, kind of what he's been through in Europe already. I would love to see Delit back to give us an extra, sort of more strength for the defense. It would be absolutely fantastic if he's back. So I'm just praying that he's back. And there's talk of Ahmad also being back, which would give us an unbelievable lift after having lost Xerxes in it. But as I said, we are unbeaten in this tournament so far. We have scored an unbelievable. We've scored 12 goals in the from round 16 to the quarters, which is a ridiculous amount considering we can't score goals in the Premier League. It's utter madness. But we are still fighting, and the opportunity is still with us. And we get these players back, and we get minutes in the legs of players that need it, and we get the kids out firing. And who knows, maybe we'll uncover a few gems. Maybe a few of them will step up and get opportunities and do very well for us as well. So in the league games, which will be very, very important going into the tail end of this season. But this is what Paulo Fonseca, the Lyon manager, had to say. I thought we had it in the bag. He hasn't been to Old Trafford before, or if he has, he forgot what can happen on nights like this. And then he went on to say, he went on to say that the only negative point for them is point I will make is that we celebrated too early when the fourth went in. You shouldn't really celebrate until the end of the match. So kind of like understanding that they went too early with their celebrations. They thought with 10 minutes to go and they were leading by 2 goals. I suppose in some ways you probably would have thought that they had every opportunity to go and win that game. But we kept going, kept believing, kept fighting to the better end, turned it around. And thank God we didn't have to take it to penalties, because I did not fancy Onana against their penalty takers, because their goalkeeper, I thought, looked very strong, went the right way for Bruno's penalty. Bruno made a really good Bruno took an excellent penalty. He got very, very close to it, and that would have concerned me, because I don't know, it's a lottery, and I've seen us win and I've seen us lose. So yeah, I don't know what way it would have went, but Harry, the hero, stepped up, scored the winner, and we avoided that roller coaster of penalties. Maybe there'll be penalties in the next round. Jesus, God help us if there is. And this is what the Bilbao manager had to say. He says, Manchester United are a Champions League club. Right now they're taking the Europa League as their only chance to qualify for where they belong. So I believe he's trying to put some pressure back on Manchester United at the minute by saying that they should be in the Champions League. That's where they deserve to be. So all the pressure is on Manchester United and not Bilbao. Deflection tactics away from his team. And all I said to that is, he's wrong at the minute, because we are in the Europa League, and that is where we are. I mean, if we don't get through, we're not even in any European competition next year. So to say that we are a Champions League team is only by name and nothing else. We have to go and prove that we are a team that can at least qualify for the Champions League by winning this trophy. And as I said, he's trying to put all the pressure on Manchester United, and the pressure is already on Manchester United in many respects, because we know that we need to win it. We know that information that was coming out yesterday, it's worth 19 million plus if you get into the Champions League at the minute, and we are so strapped for cash. We are looking into oblivion if we don't get there, and that's where we are with it. So yeah, I thought that was an interesting comment on the Bilbao, from the Bilbao manager. And then this is kind of a little bit on Casemiro. 112 minutes wins the penalty, 120 minutes assists Kobe, 121 minutes assists Harry Maguire. Casemiro was absolutely fantastic last night, and he kept going to the 121st minute. He worked his socks off. He actually played on longer than that. And as Adam Malic mentioned on Forever United TV this morning, so glad that Casemiro didn't play in that Newcastle game, because he wouldn't have been fit to play the entire game. And my God, that we need him. That ball around the corner to Manu is absolutely fantastic. Obviously, Manu goes on and scores an absolute brilliant goal, but that pass, that little flick, pure class. His desire, his will, his determination, his ability to have been and played in these massive games helped drag us through this particular one. His experience is vital, and it will be going into the rest of the league games too. So we really need to keep drawing on his experience. Harry Maguire, Bruno, and this is the reason why Manchester United can't just sell a raft of young, or cannot just bring in a load of young players, because you could see at times last night Garnacho had the opportunity and didn't take it with the one-on-one which he created himself. Dorgu also had opportunities and he was shooting from crazy angles. Good players, lot to learn, and but we can't have a whole team trying to learn at the same time, because otherwise you'll really struggle. And that is the reason that just proved last night is the reason why we need some experienced players being brought into that team to help us cope with massive situations like this. As I said, Bruno, Harry Maguire, and Casemiro, absolutely fantastic last night, doing the job. Although Harry shouldn't have ducked for one of the goals in the first half, or in the second half, sorry, that was really poor from him. But taking that one little bit of negative out of it, it was a roller coaster. The experienced players stepped up and helped us get through that, and that is the reason why when we're buying young players, we still need to think about experience, because you can't do it with just young players, because young players are still learning as they go, making mistakes as they go. But talking about young players, shout out to Lenny Yaro and his Phil Jones style header, unbelievable. Kid was braver than brave, absolutely fantastic. Brilliant coming out with the ball from the back, did really well. Shout out to Onana, who made some very important saves. Yeah, and as I said, the rest of the team played really well, and did what they had to do to get across the line, but obviously the standouts are the ones I've kind of mentioned already. Okay guys, that's kind of your 10 minutes, a bit longer. I'm Keith. Please hit a subscribe, please hit a like on the way out, and yeah, get your comments in below on anything I've talked about. Can we win the Europa League now? How did you feel after last night? Did you enjoy Casemiro coming up to the fore and doing the business? Harry Maguire, getting us across the line again. Get your thoughts in, get your comments in, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one.